Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, B'Kakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel abroad, living up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever they may be. This is just a quick lesson through the Spirit. There's been videos going around on this Hebrew Defense Unit or the HDU. This clown, this guy, basically stating that we need to gather up arms and that he's training Israelites to take back the land and all this other bullshit, which the scriptures don't tell us to do so. Okay, scriptures say, "Wait ye upon me until I rise up to the prey." But there's been several videos that's been going out regarding the falsified teachings of this guy and promoting agent provocateur behavior, which that's all Esau needs to lump us up with these other groups, man, that's pushing carnality, like the Black Panthers and the Guerrilla Unit and all these other groups out there that pushes carnal means. You see, that's what Esau was using these guys to get us lumped up. It's no coincidence, man, but he's pushing that whole, well, you know, we need guns, we need arms. No, man, the scriptures don't say that. Because the scriptures tell you, and King David even went into it and mentioned that, basically that his bow won't deliver him, man. You know, he won't be delivered through his own means, so to speak. But basically, you know, the angels is going to deliver us through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, with that being said, man, you know, there's several examples in the scriptures. Okay, one example being...
This is my comeback. Start yours at PurdueGlobal.edu.
The fuck up, man. You know, one example being when Daniel was in the lion's den and the Most High sent the angels to pretty much keep the lions at bay. Another example as well is when the prophet Habakkuk was transported from his particular province to feed the prophet Daniel, okay, when he was in the lion's den. And then you got Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and several other accounts. And this is one account that I want to get that proves that the angels would indeed intervene when necessary, especially in the times we get ready to enter into. Okay, because when you go into the book of 2 Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, you had a treasury that was set up by the son of Tobias, which was a noble man, for the widows and the fatherless, and was not be touched for any other purposes. But you had Heliodorus, which was commissioned by the king, which he was a treasurer, to go and basically ransack the temple and steal the money, and then an apparition appeared. But he got insight on it because Simon was basically in conflict with, I believe it was Onias, the high priest, about the dealings of the city. And what happened was he couldn't really overcome him. He couldn't get him to budge. So he was like, all right, well, fuck it, I got something for you. And then he basically went to the heathens and basically was going to have us robbed, man. And the angels intervened. So this is just a couple of quick precepts on that, because we ain't got to worry about a damn thing, brothers, man. Okay, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is going to intervene in our lives, and I really believe that, man. I mean, the signs are all around us, from chariot sightings to, you know what I'm saying, spiritual signs. Like, I mean, it's this one cat that always appears to pop up by my car or on my porch at night. Like, before I went to bed last night, the spirit say, open up your blinds, because I like to open up. You know, I like to see on the outside. You know, I keep the crib dark, so therefore you can see what's going on the outside, in case, you know, motherfuckers want to be stupid. And on top of that, waking up to a sunrise is always beautiful. You know, it's just a good scenic view, serene view. So spirit say, hey, open up your blinds a little bit and turn them towards you. And then all of a sudden I open up the blinds, there's a cat on my balcony. And this is not the first time he or she was out there. I mean, you know, obviously they like this porch, and I'm thinking maybe it's because of the trees, but no, man, the Lord sent protection. And you can say, well, how can a cat protect you? Cats and animals, man, they can sense spirits and they can sense things. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, this one cat always looks at my porch. He always meows. And maybe he just wants some food. Maybe he just wants some foods. But usually when cats choose to cling to you or any particular animal, that's usually a good sign. So, you know, just what I thought. But we're going to have protection in that day, you know, and I really believe that. So anyway, this is the book of 2 Maccabees 3, and I'm going to start at verses, let's start at verses 4. It says, but one Simon, matter of fact, let's start at 3. It says, insomuch that the Seleucids of Asia of his own revenues bear all the costs, belonging to the service of the sacrifice. Okay, putting up the money. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about this order in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Tharasas, who was then the governor of Syria and Phoenice. And they told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money. Basically, he fabricated it, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hands, meaning that it was there for the taking. It says, now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose Heliodorus his treasurer and sent him with the commandment to bring him the aforesaid money. Basically sent him on a mission, like, go get the money and do what you got to do. So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey, and under color of visiting the cities of Syria and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he had come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him with intelligence. He told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared therefore he came, and he asked if these things were so indeed. So he inquired about the money, basically. And then the high priest told him that were such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, because that was a fund. We had a welfare fund for the less fortunate of widows and the fatherless and the poor men of Israel. We had a treasury. We took care of our people back in the ancient world. It was like a welfare system, because everybody didn't have access to particular lands, and everybody wasn't as well off. Okay, like today you got some rich jakes, you got some well off jakes, and you got some jakes that just ain't got it like that. You see, so we also had to take care of them. But it says, and it says, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed, the sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 talents of gold. And it was together impossible that such wrong should be done unto them that had committed unto the holiness of the place, and to the majesty of an inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored all over the world. So he wasn't supposed to come in and tamper with it. Okay, that was a sacred place. And it says, so at the day which he appointed, he entered into the order in this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. Meaning it was like an upright. People was kind of, in frenzy. They was afraid. They didn't know. They like, oh shit, we getting ready to be invaded. They getting ready to take our money. How we going to pay for this? How we going to provide for our families, etc. But it says, but the priests prostrating themselves before the altar, and the priest's vestments called into heaven upon him that made a law concerning things to be kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as he had committed them to be kept. So if the money was set up for the widows and the fatherless children, that money was not for anything outside of that. So it was to not be touched for anything. I don't give a damn if you wanted to borrow and pay it back. You couldn't do it, because it was set up for a particular purpose. Okay. And it says, then whoso had looked in the face, it says, then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart. For his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and the horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him was sorry he had now in his heart, because he understood the importance of that. Okay, and when you see a man that's dedicated to the service of the Most High, and you try to force him out of that narrative, it's like almost like a life or death thing. You see? And it says here, others ran flocking out of the houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. Right, because he was getting ready to come and rob the temple. And the woman girded with sackcloth under their breasts abounded in streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows. And all, holding their hands towards heaven, made supplication. I mean, we prayed to the Most High. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such agony. They then called upon the Almighty Lord to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, The Lord of spirits, as we know the scriptures say in Hebrews, the Lord is the Father of spirits. The Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, which is basically an angel, okay, a demon or angel apparition, that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Yahweh and fainted and were so afraid, because this apparition was just like, wow, it was probably like something out of this world. Like the Lord have creatures in the fourth dimension that if you saw in this realm, you would literally give up the spirit. That's why a lot of times when prophets saw angels, what they do, they hit the ground, they bowed down, they prostrated themselves, because the fearful sights and the glory that these beings come with. Okay. And it says here, then it says, nevertheless, Heliodorus. Yep, I read that. And it says, for there appeared unto them a horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he had set upon the horse that had completed a harness of gold. Okay, so meaning he was adorned with beautiful apparel, man. It was angels. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty. Now these are angels, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side. And they scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. So basically they beat the shit out of him. Okay, they beat the shit out of him because he had no business coming in there to destroy or to take or to loot what we had set up for the widows and the children and the fatherless. It says, and Heliodorus fell suddenly into the ground and was compassed with great darkness, meaning they blacked him out, they knocked him out, okay, beat him to an inch of his life. That they were with him took him up and put him into the litter. So basically an angel came and kicked him in his shit and they stumped him out, beat the hell out of him, man. Thus him that lately came with the great train and with all his guards into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, meaning the weapons didn't have no effect on these angels. And manifestly they acknowledged the power of the Most High. For he, by the hand of the Most High, was casted down and lay speechless without all hopes of life. So basically they thought the nigga was dead. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Yahweh appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. So we rejoiced when that happened, man. And this is the example we're making in a time of all hell breaking loose. It just stated that the weapons it couldn't do anything with the angels, man. So you think Esau's weapons are going to be able to do something with our defense from heaven? Especially when we're seeing chariots left and right. You know, we're seeing all types of signs in the heavens. And we believe Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is literally going to protect us, man, by giving us spiritual power. And then you're going to have angels walking literally side to side with brothers, protecting them, you know, and giving them spiritual powers. All right. Then it says, then straightway certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the spirit. Basically, they beat him till he was getting ready to give up the ghost. So then the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man, which he was smart. That was wise, because you understand that kings in that time, I mean, you know, they understood the reality of the Most High, but their hatred was so fixated on the Israelites to the point that any attempt or any chance they had to get at us, they would have done it. Okay, they wouldn't have took it as an angel damn to beat this man to death. They would have took it like, oh man, you Israelites, y'all niggas on bullshit. So we finna come and we finna declare war against you. Because that was a common thing, you know. But it says, and seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declared unto all men the mighty power of Yahweh. And when they had spoken these words, there appeared no more. Okay, meaning, matter of fact, let's read that again. It says, and seeing that thou hast been scourged from the heaven, declared unto all men the mighty power of the Most High. And when they have spoken these words, there appeared no more. Okay, the angels basically disappeared on him. So Heliodorus, after he had offered up sacrifice unto the Lord, made a great vow unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great power which he had seen with his eyes, because they beat the shit out of him. And when the king Heliodorus, who might be fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. It says, For in that place, no doubt, there is a special power of God. For he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place, and defended it, and he beat it and destroyed them that come to hurt it. Okay? And that's the point. The Most High has a hedge of angels around us, man. And ain't nothing the gun can do to save us or stop that. So that's the point I wanted to make. Another precept. This is the book of Acts 12. And I'm going to start at verses... Let's start at 1. It says, Now about the time Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Israelites or the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread, which is the Passover. Okay, now they say Easter, but this is talking about the Passover. But it says, and when they had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him into the four quadrants of soldiers to keep him, intending at the Easter, which that word is really the Pesach, to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore being kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto Yahweh for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise quickly, and his chains fell off from his hands. Okay, so that shows you right there that the angels can come and deliver us from any situation. It's a light thing for the Most High to deliver us out of the hands of the devil, man. It's easy. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did, and he said unto him, Cast thy garment about thee and follow me. And he went out and followed him, and wist not it was true, which was done by the angel, but though he saw a vision. And when they were past the first and second one, they came into the iron gate that leadeth to the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. So basically, the angel disappeared, got him out of prison, and he dipped. Don't worry about, brothers, man. Yeah, this is a hard life. Things are happening. We're all being tried in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. You know, but hey, we remain diligent. Yahweh Shai is definitely going to take care of us. All right, one more precept. And at that time, Shammach will stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that should be found written in the book, man. Okay, and who's written in the book of life? The elect. Okay, so with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. And with that, Shalom and the Baba Ball. Shalom.